night's far from ordinary performance. Their 22-year-old righty did not allow a run, and the offense put up 5 in the first to support the cause. Tonight's script features Max Scherzer's quest to stretch the win streak to 7 and keep Dusty and the Nats perfect on the road. All is well for the Nats as they play on the road again. Game 2 of the weekend series. It's kids opening night for the Philly fans. Yeah, he'll become a Nats supporter someday. Mark my words. We all are, and why not? The way this team's played right now, the Nats are 3-0 on the road, 5-1 at home. A lot of different departments adding up to each other to make this happen. Defense, pitching, just as important as the offense.
You know, I'm not going to get all giddy that they're 8-1, just like I wouldn't be bummed if they were 1-8 right now. So the record is the record. They've been playing some of the weaker opponents. But I will say this about the process and the type of baseball they're playing. We could look at all the numbers. They're doing everything right, blah, blah, blah. But they're playing the game of baseball the right way. So the record is a byproduct of the type of baseball they're playing. So yeah, they're 8-1. It's a 9-game stretch in a 162-game season. So I'm not going to start mapping out the parade route yet. It's a good start. That's all it is. And they're hoping to build on it. There's a lot of confidence in that third base dugout. And another building block tonight. Max Scherzer takes on the Phils. Started 4 times against them last year. Had a 1.5 ERA and won 3 of those games. Yeah, you remember he was perfect here through 5 after he threw the perfect game. So Max Scherzer loves pitching this ballpark. Rough start last time, but he was proud of the way he finished. So he's going to take those last couple innings against the Braves in his last start and employ it here against the Phillies tonight. Offensive support up and down the lineup, but especially Bryce. The game-winning double, couple of homers, the grand slam, 8 RBIs. Wearing out the Phillies last 14 times against Philadelphia pitching. Batting a cool 400 and all the power you could want. The achiever in you, and by Ocean City, Maryland. Let us show you a good time in Ocean City, Maryland. Book now at OCOcean.com. 9 runs on 16 hits might have enlarged that crack in the Liberty Bell a little bit last night. The Fanatic trying to put the whammy on Max Scherzer. Total disregard for what's going on in left field.
We'll see who the strongest team is by the time this one is done tonight. It's a gorgeous night in Philly. 63 degrees. Flag's not doing much of anything. Clear skies, absolutely gorgeous. The Phils take the field. At home, they're 3-2. They're 5-6 overall, 4 games behind the Nats. The Mets are trying to come from behind, but trailing in the ninth in Cleveland. Michael A. Taylor, first home run of the year last night. 3rd career game leading off home run. He's 6 for 35. Dusty would like him to be patient at the plate, but he doesn't want him to lose his aggressiveness. He's stolen a couple of bases, 10 strikeouts without a walk. Rest of the lineup, everybody chipping in. Ryan Zimmerman and Danny Espinosa, the only 2 Nats who haven't faced Aaron Nola, 22 years of age. He's 0-1 on the year.
And fastball averages 89 miles an hour. He can hit 94 with it, so he'll turn it up a notch with 2 strikes. Curveball's pretty good one, 76 miles an hour. He throws it 30% of the time. Last start against San Diego on the 11th, he took the 4-3 loss, gave up 4 runs on 6 hits over 7 innings of work, struck out 9 Padres and walked nobody on the year. Carp 17 strikeouts, no walks. So if you're a Nats hitter tonight, hack, you're going to get a strike.
Yeah, he's got a big curveball. See how he uses his defense tonight.
Ruff, Herrera, Hunter the outfield, Galvis, Franco left side, Hernandez, Howard right side, and Cameron Rupp behind the plate.
Aaron Nola from Baton Rouge went to LSU. He was the 7th overall pick in the 1st round just 2 years ago by the Phils. So fast track to the big leagues. Didn't have a whole lot of success against the Nats in September of 2015 in this ballpark. Anthony Rendon just out of here. Bryce Harper, that's way out of here. And then Jason Worth.
That was a grand salami by Jason Worth. And Worth hit another home run in the 10th inning that night. So he had 2 homers. So Anthony Rendon, some success. 21 hard hit balls last night for the Nats. They're going to try to do the same thing here tonight. That'd be asking a lot, though. Yeah.
I'll take half of that, or 2/3 of it. So after all those exclamation points, hopefully no question marks tonight. 25-year veteran Kerwin Danley has the plate. Andy Fletcher, Mark Ripperger, and there's the crew chief, Joe West. 39th year in the big leagues. He had the plate last night. And he was trying to hurry guys along. He told Bryce, get in the box. Bryce said okay, and then he hit a homer on the next pitch. First pitch of this one. Michael A. was trying to do it again. We're underway at 7:07.
Well, you know you're going to get strikes. Nola's a guy that fills up the strike zone, so hack.
Michael 0 for 2 with a couple of strikeouts against him. That's inside. So tonight it's go Nats beat the Phils and go Caps beat the Flyers.
I'm in on both of those.
There's that curveball. Good take by Michael A.
Somebody needs to get her the right jersey.
And the fastball is outside, 3-1. That's hitting .261, 6 in the league. They're 8th in runs, 5th in homers now. And he holds on too long and misses to the glove side. Leadoff walk. First time Michael A. Taylor walks this year.
Well, it's the first walk of the year for Aaron Nola, so a lot of firsts going on.
Yeah, how about that? 17 strikeouts, no walks in his first 2 starts.
It's the most strikeouts before a walk for the Phillies since 1974 to start a season. And wouldn't you know?
I'm waiting.
He walked him. I felt like that was a rhetorical question or statement.
Okay. 74. I'm not sure Steve Carlton was here yet. He might have been. I don't know who that was. Cliff Lee had done something similar. Billy Wagner in relief. Larry Christensen, Vicente Padilla. Whole bunch of Phillies have started the season well. There's Anthony Rendon. 2 for 6 with that homer we showed you. Now he's 3 for 7. Taylor digging for 3. That ball gets deep out there against the wall. Rendon will pull up and stop at first, but the Nats have a corner situation to start the game.
Well, first things first, let's take care of, there goes the no-hitter. Anthony Rendon with a double for the first knock of the night. Tony Two Bags checking in. And a nice play by Darren Ruff to keep that ball from going to the wall. If it does, Bob Henley scores Michael Taylor easily. So Bryce has a chance to feast right here, and the Nats are picking up right where they left off last night, trying to have a big first inning once again.
Harper 3 for 5 with a homer against Aaron Nola. Bryce at .313 overall. His on base percentage .436, just out of the top 10. He's in the top 2 in homers. He's third in runs batted in behind Nolan Arenado and his teammate young Mr. Story, who's been amazing out there.
I'll tell you what, Matt Stairs came in before the game and said Nola throws everything away to everybody, and everything's been in so far. So that was the most bootleg scouting report ever by Stairsy.
I think you should fire him for tomorrow. Harper high in the air to left field, not very deep. Darren Ruff, not a great arm. Taylor's coming home, and then Ruff drops it. He made the catch, but he gives the Nationals a run at home and a runner. Rendon to second base, so sac fly for Bryce Harper.
Yeah, 12th RBI of the year for Bryce Harper, and a thank you very much from Darren Ruff. This was going to be interesting at the plate. He's got a decent arm, and from about 220 feet, this would have been close. But you watch him on the transfer last year, that would have been a hit or an error, and Bryce would have been on first. Remember early in the season they had that transfer rule thing going on, but Bryce Harper will take the RBI and maybe go shake Michael Taylor's hand a couple times.
Yeah, Bryce's 12th RBI, Nats on top. Ryan Zimmerman with another runner in scoring position. There's that breaking ball in there.
Yeah, and don't sleep on Anthony Rendon getting to second base. That was good base running as well.
And they have given Ruff an error for that 90 feet, which I think is the good call. There's no way Anthony advances without the muff, so this could be big early. Zimmerman makes it big early. 2-0. Here comes Rendon, and Ryan Zimmerman has his second RBI of the year. The Nats have scored 7 first inning runs in this series.
Just knows how to drive in a run, doesn't he? Only his second RBI of the year, but Ryan Zimmerman, as we've seen throughout the years, the location mistake. They wanted to jam him. They wanted to come in again, but they left it out over the plate. Easy send for Bob Hanley. Good hustle by Anthony Rendon getting to second base. So the advancement by Rendon, the good base running, gives Ryan Zimmerman a chance to drive in a run. 2-0.
Daniel Murphy 1 for 2 career against Nola. He's leading the league in hitting and on base percentage at .464 and .571. One for 3 last night. Couple of hard line drives.
I mean, if you're the scoreboard crew at the Verizon Center right now, don't you have to throw the score up real quick just to get them going a little bit before they drop the buck? I would.
Well, the Nats already have game 1 score on the board here. Inside the numbers on an inside pitch, and what the Nats are doing right around the middle of that lineup. 3-4-5. Great batting average, on base percentage, slugging. I mean, doing what the big boppers are supposed to do. All brought to you by Jeep. Murphy lines one into the right field corner. Hunter playing way off the line. Zimmerman chugging for third. Cedric Hunter picks it up. Here comes Ryan Zimmerman. He will score, and all the way to third goes Daniel Murphy. 3-0 Washington.
He can hit. Flat out rake. Stay hot, Daniel Murphy. .464 average, leads Major League Baseball. And that's going up right here. A triple down the right field corner. Watch Ryan run. Getting around there pretty good. So all the way from first, 3-0 Nats. Daniel Murphy hit 198 in April last year for the Mets. He's leading all of baseball this April.
Yeah, 14 for 29 with that double. Third on the throw. And the Nats have another man at third base with 1 out. Phillies staff a bit shell-shocked at what's taken place in this series so far. So 3 hits already plus a walk. And Jason Worth is next. Infield in. Curveball for a strike.
A big game tonight in the sense that you're trying to win a series, and Dusty Baker could give the guys a day off tomorrow if he chooses with the day game after the night game. We've seen him do that already early in the season.
Ooh, that breaking ball was hanging a bit. By the way, they just changed it. They've given Murphy a triple on that. First they said double, third on the throw. So for Daniel, that's his second triple of the year to go with 3 doubles and 2 home runs. Now Worth 0-2 on breaking balls. Looking to elevate. He does. Short center. They were playing way in. And out to grab it is Cesar Hernandez. 2 outs. Starting rotations. The Nats 201 to lead all of baseball. Phillies 273. It was lower than that going into last night.
It was number 1 last night. They started at 2.14 in the first inning of last night's game. That's going to go up even more. Or does that error affect it?
I think once Murphy got the extra base hit, that took care of the 90 feet that Rendon advanced. So he would have gone to third on the Zimmerman hit most probably. So 3 Ernies on the board right now, as the pitchers say. Wilson Ramos 5th in the league at 406. Breaking ball, a good one. Daniel Murphy, by the way, batting 483 now.
Almost like Nola came out away from what he does naturally. You know, we had a little fun with Matt Stairs, but he usually pitches away. He tried to jam some hitters, paid dearly for it. Now to Jason Worth and Wilson Ramos, he's going back to his more familiar away to everybody.
Ramos bounces one to the right side, handled by Hernandez. So the Nats 5 last night in the first, 3 tonight. Inside some more numbers with Jeep. Last 4 games, Gio, Tanner, Steven, and Joe nearly untouchable. And Strasburg wasn't feeling that great, so 2 runs, not a big deal. All wins, starters getting their job done. Now here's the ace, 31-year-old Max Scherzer.
Last start on the 11th against the Braves, he got the 6-4 win. You remember he battled the first couple of innings, then locked in after that. Finished very strong. He's trying to pick up where he left off last start. And he spotted a 3 spot before he even got on the mound.
He didn't get the bat in the first inning, though.
No.
Joe did last night.
You know, that's the 3rd time that's happened in Nats history where a pitcher records a hit before he takes the mound to throw his first pitch.
Now that's a great stat.
Billy Traber did it in 2006. Esteban Loaiza did it in 2005. It happens generally about 2 to 3 times per year, I'm told, thanks to stats.com.
Interesting. 0-2 pitch, and Scherzer went right after Cesar Hernandez, who's 2 for 8 career against Max with 3 strikeouts.
I thought it was going to be more rare than that. And Max almost had a chance to do it again tonight.
Yeah. Breaking ball. Danny Espinosa in and to his left. Fast runner got him 1 out. Rest of the Phillies lineup is the center fielder Herrera, Maikel Franco in the number 3 spot, then Ryan Howard. So Herrera, different kind of player than Jason Worth, but sees almost as many pitches. He's only 9 for 35 with a home run, 4 career hits against Max. He's a guy who plays with a lot of fire, and he is 2nd in the league with 10 walks. The Nats walked him in the 8th inning last night. He was charged up about it, trying to get his dugout going. So he's in the number 2 spot tonight. It was a pretty good breaking ball by Max Scherzer, and Herrera pulled the bat back. And he goes upstairs with a heater. Max career against the Phillies, 3-0 in 4 starts for the Nats last year, but in the career 4-1 in 6 starts with a 2.25 ERA. That'll turn the left-handed batter away. 2 balls, 1 strike. Paint on the outside edge, and if Max gets that called, it'll be a tough night for the Phillies.
Yeah, I'm just thinking the same thing. When you're facing an ace as a hitter, that's the one where you turn around the ump and you say he doesn't need any help.
Tried to go out there. This one elevated a bit, and it's 3-2.
Pretty close to the last pitch, right? Look at 4 on a pitch track. Where's 5 land? Yeah. 2 pitches, like, they don't land, do they? A slow pitch softball, they land. If you're a pitcher and your pitch lands in the big leagues, you're probably not going to be in the big leagues very long.
Sometimes on 3-2, or more likely 0-2, 1-2, a pitcher will try to land one in the dirt and get a swing at a bad ball, but not here.
Good cover, partner. I like it.
Full count with 1 out. Missed by a bunch, and Herrera down to first base.
Let's show you the #1 defense by fielding percentage in the league. Worth, Taylor Harper, the outfield. Espinosa, Rendon, left side. Murphy, Zimmerman, right side. And Wilson Ramos behind the plate.
Here comes Maikel Franco, young man with a lot of power. Last night he was hitting cleanup, and he went 0 for 4 without a ball out of the infield. Hitting .297 at 11 for 37 to start.
First pitch fastball guy.
Yeah.
Likes to swing early in the count.
Got a breaking ball. And he just flares it over Espinosa. Herrera speeding into second. Michael A. Taylor charging the ball well. Now the Phils have 2 on, 1 out.
Oh, bad guy's a hero for Franco. First pitch slider from Scherzer. They were betting he was swinging, and he was. Caught it off the end. So the Phillies trying to answer here in the bottom of the first.
Ryan Howard and Max Scherzer. Key at bat early in the game. Max by far has had the best of their career matchups. More on that in a minute. Howard hit his 4th homer last night. Tied for second with Bryce and some other guys for second in the league. And Ryan didn't wait long before asking for time.
You know, we talk about Max Scherzer in the hold a lot when he's got a plus base runner on first base. But what we fail to mention a lot is that it messes up a hitter's timing too. When he sits there and holds and he practices the hold all the time, counts in his own head.
Straight up, out behind second base, Anthony Rendon.
I mean, as a hitter, you're ready to hit. You're standing there. You're used to a certain clock going off in your head. Like, okay, let's do this. And a lot of times guys don't step out. So I thought that was big that Howard stepped out on the first pitch, and he knows he got his pitch and just got under it. But it's something that he incorporated in his repertoire, if you will. And it's something he practices so that his body gets used to it. In his bullpen sessions, he'll hold, count in his head. He said he can hold it for up to 15 seconds. Byron Kerr had a great article on Masson.com if you didn't see it, about how Max really works on that hold and what it's designed for. MassonSports.com, excuse me. I'm not a computer guy, if you can't tell.
Yes, you are. 3 years ago, the Phils thought Darren Ruff, at the age of 26, was on his way in the big leagues. 14 homers in 73 games. He was hurt the following year, played only 106 games last year. Big, strong left fielder, 29 years of age. And he stepped out. That was interesting. He took his left foot and stepped out of the box right as Kerwin Danley was giving him time. Now there's a big second out. Ruff off to a 1-for-8 start, and he will flare one out to short center. There's Murphy again, so that's it. The walk and the single don't hurt. Phillies strand 2 after the Nats scored 3. Three hits, a walk, an error in the first inning. When they win, and big, everyone wins, like last night all season long when the Nats win and score 7 or more, you get 50% off regular menu price online orders PapaJohns.com. Enter promo code NATS50. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's, official pizza of your Washington Nationals. And this is available and valid at participating D.C., Maryland, and Northern Virginia locations.
Is she keeping score? She had a pencil in her left hand to the gentleman's left in the pink hat. That would be awesome if she was.
That was a fake smile for that selfie.
I love seeing people keep score at a ball game.
Nats fans feeling good.
It's better than looking down at your cell phone the whole game, right?
Yeah, the game's out there.
Sorry, I'm guilty of that too when I go to a ball game. I put that thing away once in a while.
Ball tailing away from Danny Espinosa. 19 pitches, 12 strikes. Nola first inning. Danny had a nice night here, 2 for 5, pair of RBIs in game 1. And some of his at bats late in the game were right-handed, so he got a few reps from that side. Left-handed, he's 4 for 24. By the way, the Mets lost. Tried to make a comeback. They fell short 7-5 at Cleveland. So they're 4-6 now.
Didn't Matt Harvey have a perfect game going for a while and the wheels came off?
Yeah, the Mets were ahead early. It's a great backdoor breaking ball by Nola. As they stand right now. Braves at Marlins just underway. Minnesota Twins also won their first game of the year last night, and they won again today. They beat the Angels at home. Good rip by Danny. The ball goes absolutely straight back. Good idea of the breaking ball diving. 2-2. Another breaking ball. Danny can't get to it. Aaron Nola, first strikeout tonight.
The 2016 Flex Plan, the choice is yours. Pick 4 games starting at just $80. Plus, we'll throw in a free Nationals grill item. Visit nationals.com/flex to buy your Flex Plan today.
Max Scherzer 0 for 5 to start the season. And Nola gets the outside edge. Max in his career 183 with 4 RBIs. Up the middle, high hopper to his left. Galvis, time to set and throw. 2 outs. 4 straight for Nola now since the Murphy RBI triple.
So after the ball game last night, I went back to the hotel room and watched the Dodgers-Giants game. Did you? Well, you did, because I sent you the link. Hear Vin Scully tell the story about Madison Bumgarner and the snake. if you get a chance, you're at home right now.
The snake and the rabbits.
Yeah, Google that story that Vin Scully told on the air last night. It was awesome. Madison Bumgarner wrestles cattle for a living. That's what he does. And then he talked about killing a snake, and there was some jackrabbits alive that the snake had just eaten that they nursed back to health. And he went on for 2 hitters. It was awesome. Only Vin could do that.
Yeah, only he can pull that off.
What did he say the moral of the story was?
The moral of the story was, you gotta make your comeback and keep on fighting. Love it, Vinny.
It was awesome.
Breaking ball, a lot of them from Nola.
I sent that link to about 20 people today. It was just classic Vin Scully.
And hats off to you for not starting someone else's story with 2 outs in an inning.
Yeah.
So you got him looking for it now. It was pretty good. 1 ball and 2 strikes. 2 outs here in the top of the second. Taylor walked and scored first time. And then when he's got you thinking about that big hook, he'll throw the fastball before you can react. He gets a 1-2-3. 5 in a row. Scherzer back to work. Nats by 3.
In Philadelphia, up 3-0 here at Citizens Bank Park. Max Scherzer on the hill, the ace of this national staff, and also serving as a bit of a mentor to Joe Ross, the youngest starter in this Nationals rotation. I was talking with Joe earlier today. He said that Max has made a pretty significant impact on him as a pitcher so far. He said that goes for work ethic type of stuff as far as preparing for starts, physical conditioning. But Max has also influenced how Joe approaches his work on the mound. He's very willing to share hitters' tendencies in staff meetings before every series. And Max also comes up to Joe in between innings during Joe's starts, offering sequencing advice, big picture stuff he's seeing. He leads on the field for these Nationals guys, and he leads off it as well.
That's what it's all about. The older guys bringing the younger guys along. Subject of our Coons.com sideline report with Dan. Over 2 million vehicles sold and counting. Freddie Galvis, bottom of the second, dragging a bunt. Murphy, bare hand to Zimmerman. Yes. Daniel Murphy has played very well at second base so far.
I mean, he was almost out of the batter's box when he bunted that. But nice barehand play by Daniel Murphy. He knew that was his only chance with the speed of Freddie Galvis, so just kind of an underhand toss all in one motion. Put a couple of stars by that one. Nice play. You know, getting back to Dan's report, it tells you that the kind of guy that Max Scherzer is more than anything. That he cares enough to take a guy like Joe Ross and show him the right way. Remember in Tampa last year when it was 96 degrees and Max was going for a run and he said, "Hey Joe, come on, let's go. This is how you do it up here." And all the other little things. So it just it speaks of the person to me.
Yeah, 9 years his senior, helping any way he can.
And I've known guys, Carp, to sign huge contracts, and they're just kind of in their own world. You know, they're set for life. They don't feel like they need to give back. So, you know, all of that. Max Scherzer's a good dude. That's what I got out of that.
Well, Scherzer takes care of Cameron Rupp. That'll be his first strikeout. Mercedes-Benz will track it.
Yeah, a little country hardball right here. 3-pitch see ya. 96 fastball coming out easy early for Max tonight.
Next up, 28-year-old Cedric Hunter, who is scuffling. Last night, he batted 7th. Tonight, he's in the 8th spot, 3 for 29 to start the season. He squares around the bunt. Pitch didn't miss the corner by much, and it's ball 1.
And all that hold stuff, too, that Joe Ross is doing, he's learned from Max. And Max talked to Raj Davis when he was with the Tigers and said, you know, how do I hold runners better? And Raj told him, just hold the ball. I get antsy out there. I hate it when pitchers hold the ball on me. So Max started working on it. Now he's showing Joe Ross that. And you remember back to D. Gordon when Joe Ross held him so well. That was because of Max.
Yeah, that can win you a ball game. 2 balls, 1 strike to Hunter with the pitcher on deck here, bottom of the second. Looked like he took a little bit off. This is Espinosa on the shift. And Danny, who's played some second base in his time, makes like one. And a 1-2-3 for Scherzer. Nothing out of the infield.
Cold one tonight. Look forward to Miller time later in the ball game. That's brought to you by Miller Lite.
To the top of the third. 2-3-4. Rendon, Harper, Zimmerman here. Some Geico highlights. First inning style again.
And Bryce Harper with a short fly ball to left. And watch Michael A. Taylor be aggressive. Maybe that's why Darren Ruff dropped the ball, and then Ryan Zimmerman with a knock up the middle. That scores Anthony Rendon to make it 2-0. Then hottest hitter in all of baseball, Daniel Murphy with another triple. That scored Ryan Zimmerman. So 3-0 here, 4-0 DC as we speak.
Yeah, Caps have a goal. There's Rendon, clean single as you saw to left field first time. Nola. 31 pitches, 21 strikes through 2. Runs it right in there. So the Nats seeing him for the second time around tonight. There's the big curveball. Anthony couldn't get it. Braves 2 in the second at Miami, leading 2-0. Yeah, he can throw that curveball a couple different places. Just hard to make contact. Let's talk about home run swings by Bryce Harper.
Yeah, let's look from the side at the balance and how Bryce Harper really generates with his lower half. You know, as a hitting coach, what you really look at is from the belt down and the legs. You know, the bat and the throw of the bat are just a byproduct of what he gets going with that strong lower half. And you see the extension. And the last one last night, I think, at the best swing. Look at the balance afterwards. Just a classic home run swing from Bryce Harper. So 4 taters and counting early in the 2016 season. See what he does here.
Yeah, 4 home runs first 9 games. And this one straight back and foul.
just so under control last year and this year with the lower half. That's where he used to get squirrely early in his career and kind of be aggressive and jump out at the pitcher. The balance in the lower half so much more quiet than it used to be.
Target in. Bryce gets jammed and he'll drop one into left center. So Nola's jammed him twice and Bryce is inside out of the ball over there both times. With more on Bryce, here's Dan.
Bob, coming into today, Bryce Harper had at least 2 hits and a home run in each of his last 4 games at Citizens Bank Park dating back to last year. The last players to do that in 4 straight road games against the Phillies, Vladimir Guerrero in '99 and 2000, and Ripper Collins back in 1935 with the Cardinals. Bob, you remember him?
Well, everybody knows Rip. He's one of those gas house gang guys.
That's a dad taking a shot at you right
I know.
What's that all about?
It's okay. He was a gleam in his parents' eyes when I did my first game.
Ripper, that's a good name. I should have named my dog.
Well, I've heard him called Rip Collins. I think maybe there is some Ripper out there too.
Can you rename your dog after 4 months?
Will the dog know? They probably. Ryan Howard thought they had Bryce Harper, and he looks into his dugout after the save call by Andy Fletcher.
Pete McCannon's putting a hand up. That was close. I think they're going to check this out. Let's see. Did he get his fingers in there before he got tagged on his elbow?
Is it indisputable because the Nats got the call?
Pete's still waiting. Oh, he's going for it.
Here comes the challenge. We had a challenge of a challenge here last night. So it'll be the first base umpire, Andy Fletcher, and the crew chief, Joe West, in from third to accompany him to the headsets.
I couldn't really tell to overturn a call from those 2 shots we had. They're talking it over. Do you think you got me? Did I get my hand in there? You know, a good place to eat around here tonight? What do you got? I can't tell because I can't see his hand and when it's hitting the bag from that angle.
Yeah. You know, and usually the crowd goes crazy when they see it and they think he's out.
What do you got? I can't. No, that's not going to get overturned, I don't think, unless they got a different look than we have. You can hear the crowd in the back. They're confused too.
Yeah. We're not hearing the highly partisan cheer.
Got another angle? Exmo usually tells the story. Watch his hand. Did he tag him though? It's hard because it's a black glove and a black sleeve, and it's hard to tell if it's touching it. If it was a white sleeve or even a regular colored glove.
Bryce is out.
Good challenge by Pete McCannon.
So Ryan Zimmerman bats with the bases empty now. Ryan did a great job first time of really flexing his knees, getting down low with the bat and just really hitting it firmly up the middle for an RBI hit. That time the breaking ball crossing from one side of the plate to the other gets him to swing and miss. There's the front door curveball. It's pretty hard to think about swinging when the thing's coming at the W on your jersey. Three straight curveballs. Nasty. So the pickoff gives Nola a 3-batter top of the 3rd.
3-0 Nationals. The Twins are coming to town, Bob. Nationals Park, April 22nd through the 24th. First 3-game weekend series of the year. Pups in the Park. Saturday the 23rd. Kids opening day on the 24th. Visit nationals.com for tickets.
Max Scherzer to his counterpart, Aaron Nola, bottom of the third, and that's right on the outside edge. Max super efficient to start this game. That's 25 pitches, 17 strikes. Look like a slider. 0-2. And he buzzes the fastball right in there. Second strikeout. 6 batters in a row for Max Scherzer. So that brings us to Toyota Case for Kids. Washington area Toyota dealers helping children and their families every time a Nat pitcher has a strikeout. $37 to the Children's Inn at the National Institutes of Health. Nothing to the outfield yet. The flyouts both to Daniel Murphy. Cesar Hernandez, 25 years of age, 269 career hitter in parts of 3 years with the Phillies. Max throwing everything for strikes.
I got a good fastball tonight. Now he's starting to throw some more off speed second time around.
Whoa. Ball ends up behind his spikes on an 0-2 pitch.
Well, this one was down and outside of Cesar Hernandez.
A little bit away, 2-2. Throws him a strike down in the zone. Hernandez can't get to it. Max Scherzer striking out 3 of the last 4 Phillies.
Well, that was a kitchen sink at bat. He went fastball, curveball, slider, and changeup. Showed him everything for the strikeout, and he likes to pitch on the road. Since the beginning of last year, Max Scherzer with a 2.22.
Brought to you by Jeep. Inside some big names and some great numbers. Here's our Odubel Herrera, the guy that for some reason the National League keeps on walking. 11 on the year already.
He's got a good eye.
Gregory Polanco of Pittsburgh, 11. That's pretty good.
I mean, from a former hitter standpoint, Carp, I think the walk is up to the hitter. You know, guys are so aggressive in today's game, they go up hacking all the time. So if you have a good eye, you go deep into counts, you're going to walk more than other hitters. It's kind of a mindset when you go to the plate, and you can't be scared to hit with 2 strikes.
Scherzer's going to get another quick inning. The Phillies still haven't hit a ball into the outfield except for Maikel Franco's single. Here comes Murphy. Of Nationals baseball is brought to you by the RAV4 Hybrid, all-wheel drive and unexpected performance. Visit buyatoyota.com tonight. Little signage in the ballpark here in Philly to go with our billboard as we come out for the top of the fourth. 3-4-0 Nats, 0-1-1 Phillies. RBIs by Harper, Zimmerman, Murphy. Yeah, the 3-4-5 guys. So here's Freight Railworks with our do-ups. And gosh, what they're doing right now as far as Murphy's concerned. Worth in this ballpark career and Wilson Ramos over the last 4 games. All systems go for the Nats offense. Murphy's now hitting .483. His on base percentage is up in the .590 range. And he's got a line drive to right that'll hang up for Cedric Hunter to get to it.
He's so locked in.
What a nice, easy, efficient swing.
I mean, since he moved on the plate, I've said it before, he went from a pest to a presence. Now you're wondering where Daniel Murphy is in the lineup when he's coming up. Before, it was just he's going to give you a good at-bat. He's going to hit a line drive to left, see a lot of pitches, tough to strike out. Now he's a presence in the lineup where if you're playing the Nats, you're circling Daniel Murphy where he's hitting. When's he coming up? Almost like Bryce Harper light at this point.
Well, the addition of Murphy did a couple of things for this team. First of all, it got another left-handed bat in there. The Nats were pretty right-handed, even with Ben Revere leading off. And from there on down, it was Bryce, and that was just about it. So Murph comes in. Then he's the kind of guy with Revere to put the ball in play and work the counts. And I can't wait to see what happens with Ben, the former Twin, Philly, and Blue Jay in there, and Murphy against some right-handed pitching. Right now, Nola throwing all his pitches for strikes. Fastball, curveball, that was a change. Worth popped up to second, first time up. Just 22 years of age here in Nola. Career record 6-3. This is his 16th start as a big leaguer. And as we mentioned, just drafted 2 years ago. Worth sees the curveball and can't do anything about it. Drops in at the knee, strikeout number 5. Nissan will track a good hook.
Yeah, Nola's starting to lock in a little bit with his off speed. And everything down the zone. Got a good tempo, starting to gain some confidence after that 3-run first. Five strikeouts. All starting in the second.
He struck out Danny Espinosa leading off that inning. Just a Harper flare away from perfect since. And then he picked Bryce off first base for the second out last inning. Ramos gets one inside to work with. Down to left field. Ruff way over to get it. So Wilson Ramos is digging for a couple. And he will slide into the bag with his 3rd double of the season.
I mean, there's no let up in this lineup. I mean, they just keep coming at you. It doesn't matter if it's 6, 7, 8, 9. Wilson Ramos hustling. Look at the Buffalo go. You can't stop him. Once he gets that head of steam going, good luck. He can't take a big turnaround first and stop. He's just got to keep going. And I love the speed of Wilson early in this season. He stretched that single into a double the last game of the homestand right after Daniel Murphy did it.
Yeah.
He looks quicker this year.
He's had to be careful with that hamstring for the last year or
Right.
so. He looks like he's 100% and stretching things out, as you note. So Ramos hitting around .412 now with a 1-for-2 tonight. 8 o'clock in the city of brotherly love. South Philly, Citizens Bank Park. opened in '04. Right now, the Nats ruling the roost after years of getting pounded up here.
See, there's two ways to go about this. When you have a young pitcher in the 8th hole hitter up, you could say pitch around and be careful. But I don't like to leave that into a young pitcher's hands, meaning you could hang something when you're trying to pitch around the 8th guy, give up a run here. So now they're just going to walk him. I think it's the right move by Pete Mackanin. Because, you know, maybe a veteran guy like Max Scherzer in the 8th, he knows what to do. He's not going to leave anything over the plate. But when you have a young pitcher out there, maybe they're not as experienced at the highest level on how to pitch around an 8th guy. They leave something out over the plate. It's 4-0. So
yeah.
after
Good
missing
call.
the first two, Pete Mackanin taking things into his own hands, which you could talk to certain managers. A lot of managers will say, hey, he's got to figure out how to do it sometime. I'm going to let him do it. Other managers say, I'm taking it out of his hands. I'm just going 4-pitch walk. We're going to get the pitcher. But I think that was a smart move by the Phillies manager.
Yeah. And I think especially when the runner's in scoring position.
Yeah, that's
where a little flare adds another run onto a deficit. So here's Scherzer, bouncing ball to short. First time. 4 career RBIs. There's that front door hook.
I think you get to the big leagues by throwing strikes, and you stay in the big leagues by learning how to throw balls. And sometimes young pitchers don't know the art of that yet.
Scherzer hits this ball well to right. That is beyond the reach of Cedric Hunter. Ramos home. Here comes Espinosa. Max Scherzer adds 2, and the Nats lead 5-0. Career RBIs number 5 and 6.
High fives in the third base dugout. Max Scherzer doing some damage. Look at the look on Max at second base. First double of the season. And Max is saying, oh, you're going to walk him to get to me, huh? It was the right move. It just didn't work. And Max Scherzer hit that ball a ton.
Look at Joe Ross smiling.
Hitting coach happy. Players happy. Boys are having fun.
Top of the order, Taylor. A walk, a strikeout, and he goes up hacking. Max Scherzer, in his first 5 at-bats of the year, hadn't even made contact. He got a ground ball last time, and a well-hit, ringing double the other way this time. Tapper. It's a race to the bag for Michael A. And that's well played by Aaron Nola to get him. The Nats come up big. Ramos a double. Espinosa walked. Scherzer cleared the bases.
Double making it 5-0. Nats, everything happy in Nats land. The Junior Nats Kids Club presents Kids Opening Day, Sunday, April 24th at Nats Park. Celebrate Screech's birthday with Signature Sunday. Kids run the bases and more as your Nats take on the Minnesota Twins. Visit Nationals.com to purchase your tickets today. Screech is 316 years old.
Still flying high. All right, bottom of the fourth, Scherzer against their 3-4-5, Franco, Howard, and Ruff. Max is averaging just under 12 pitches per inning. 35 over 24 strikes.
Talking to Max between starts about playing high school football and high school basketball and all the different sports he played growing up, and how it just makes you, there's certain things in certain sports that apply, right? The foot speed in basketball, the teamwork, the competitive nature of football, having to deal with playing through pain. I just think it's so important for young kids to play as many sports as possible just to get that diversity. And I've sat down and talked to Buck Showalter about this when the Nats play the Orioles. That's the first thing he does when he looks at a bio of a potential free agent is, did they play high school football and basketball? Are they well-rounded athletes? Those are the guys he wants on his team. And I think that double you just saw from Max Scherzer is about competing, about being competitive. It's not about hitting the baseball. It's all those things he learned in different sports. Okay, you're going to walk him to get to me. I'm going to help myself out here. And we've seen him, and whatever you want to say about him as a hitter, he competes every single at-bat, whether he's button, whether he's trying to lead off an inning or drive in a run.
Yeah, I think it's a great thing to bring up. So many kids are being told, you got to play baseball all year. You got to play 12 months a year.
Or basketball.
We got this showcase and that road trip and this tournament. And
baseball's not meant to be played 12 months out of the year. It's just not good for you. I mean, there's something to be said for putting that glove in the closet, playing some other sports, developing other skills.
Resting that arm.
Resting that arm. And just being a well-rounded athlete. But just the way it's set up today, it's just so one sport oriented. And the coaches tell the kids, hey, if you don't play on this team year round, you're not going to play or you're not going to make it. And I just think it's important for young kids to experience as many sports as you can. Perfect example is throwing the baseball right now.
High fly ball on a breaking pitch. Rendon over to have a look. This will be close, and he's there. Just enough room. Anthony Rendon for the first out, fourth inning. Next five will take us through tomorrow here with Gio going against Charlie Morton, and then all four of the Miami series. Night games Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then a 1 o'clock getaway game on Thursday. So the Nats will get home nice and early Thursday night to get ready for the next homestand. And we look forward to our friends from WUSA 9 joining us tomorrow. Gio charting Max Scherzer's outing, and that's got to be a fun thing to do.
Fun in April. Ask him in September when he's charted 33 of them.
Well, maybe there should be a new stat. Starts and charts.
He just said, what did he just throw right there? I'd be doing that all night. I'd do it all night up here.
I could see an agent now going into a GM. He had 33 starts and 33 charts last year. We want more money.
I think he just looked at the scoreboard. This is great. All right. Hey, it keeps you into it. It gets you thinking the right way before your start. I love it. Let's see what he's got here. Change up. 85. Change up? Yeah. All right. You sure? It's hard to tell from the side.
Yeah, it is.
When you're down that dugout, it really is.
Thank you, Tanner Roark.
He's cheating. He's getting help from the other members of the staff.
Howard flips one out of play left side.
What do you got right there? Change up. See, read his lips. I think Mike Maddox should grade the charts and keep track.
Knowing him, he might be doing just that. Shift is on here with a 1-2 pitch to Howard. They wanted to jam him, and that was 90 cutting inside on the left-handed batter. This is nasty.
Yeah, this is a cutter, 90 miles an hour. Watch this thing just hang a left at the end.
Wow.
Maybe a hard slide or whatever it was strike 3 and a nasty pitch. Maybe the best pitch of the night for Max Scherzer.
That was really something. Nissan charting a perfect cutting fastball. Here's Darren Ruff with 2 outs. In there to Ruff, who popped up to Murphy first time. Talking overall staffs now. Coming into today's action, the Nats at 2.09 staff ERA. Best in the National League. Second only to the White Sox at 2.02. They've been pitching like crazy this week. And then we told you about the starters numbers. Here's the 0-2. Swing and a miss.
30.
11 straight for Max Scherzer since the Franco single way back in the first inning. Rendon, Harper, and Zimmerman. The Nats hitting on some cylinders right now. CB Park in Philly. It's all Nats. Nice crowd for a Saturday night. Phillies are 5-6 on the year. The Nationals are 8-1. And here's Rendon, 1 for 2. Harper, 1 for 1, sac fly. Zimmerman, 1 for 2.
Let's see if they sit on Nola's curveball this time around. It's been his best pitch by far. The changeup's been good. His fastball has been kind of buckshot here and there. But the one pitch he's really settled in with is his curveball, and he got Rendon on it last time up. See if he sits on it.
So change, fastball, 2-0.
Hard to sit on the curveball 2-0 though. When you talk to hitters, it's just everything goes off the fastball.
And he gets a heater. So 65% efficiency for Nola. First pitch strikes. And Anthony IDs the breaking ball. Sneaky fast with that 89 and 90. Mercedes-Benz will track it.
Well, he's got good sink to it. He's starting it off the plate, running it back. Look at pitch track where everything is down and away. So you see the game plan against Anthony Rendon. After hooking that double his first time up down the left field corner, everything away.
3-2, and he looks at the curveball, low and away. The Nats have their leadoff man on for the second time tonight. For the achiever in you, PNC Bank. And when you have insight, you know how to handle your finances with confidence. Brought to you by PNC. So with Harrisburg, Spencer Keyboom, young catcher, who hit .309 at Single-A Hagerstown last year, off to a fantastic start.
The signs in the stands, the T-shirts when he gets to the big leagues, the nicknames.
It'll be a marketing bonanza.
It will.
He's 25 years of age, from Mount Pleasant, South Carolina. When he was at Clemson, he was voted the best defensive catcher in the nation. Here's a guy who used to catch.
Seven nothing DC.
You calling it?
Including the hockey score.
Okay. Okay. That's your same. Rice is going to hit a 2-run homer.
Oh, that too.
Outside 1-0.
I mean, I like what I'm seeing from Nola, that he keeps the ball down. I love his tempo. He's getting it going, keeping his defense in the game. But he's a guy who throws in the low 90s, has to really command that fastball. Tonight he just really hasn't. Whether it's he's rushing, his release point is late. He's got himself back into a groove with his off speed, but the fastball command, I guess the general command, has been a little off for him.
Bryce Harper, 3 RBIs in this series. They've only retired him once on a fly ball. Last night to center. Now tonight it was a fly ball to left, but there was an RBI attached. And Harper goes deep. Right field line. See you later. 7-0 Washington. And that's number 5 for Bryce. RBIs number 13 and 14.
Oh my goodness. I mean, we get to watch this guy play every day. They came up from DC, they're fired up. Daniel Murphy fired up. And you came 4,000 miles to see 2 taters the last 2 nights from Bryce Harper. Number 101, and that was 102, folks.
5 RBIs in this series. Here's Ryan Zimmerman, who gets a first pitch curveball after that.
Hugs everywhere. Mass and Dan's going to start getting hugs the way those things are flowing in the third base dugout.
Let's hope. 1-1.
Should have stuck with the original call there when you teed me up.
All right, 9-0 Washington over Philly. Baseball, hockey. I love this offense, as the guys would say at the Verizon Center. Breaking ball and a chopper, third base side. Going to take quite a play by Franco, and Ryan Zimmerman is out. Ryan Howard might have sold that a little bit by really popping off that bag. And that'll be the first out.
Might be taking a look at it. Dusty Baker saying, hold on. And Ryan just topping that ball, smelling the hit all the way. Nice play, as you said, Cart, by Franco. Underhand throw, good pick by Ryan Howard. Was his foot on the bag was my question. I don't know if Ryan actually beat it, but did he come off the bag to make the pick is what I want to see.
Let's see if Chris Spire says yay or nay. He's out, I think he said.
Yep.
Well played by Franco.
Show me that tater again. And the pitch sequence. Two pitches. Whatever Cameron Rupp told him wasn't the right thing, because that ball went far.
And I'm sure glad Bryce is resting on 100 and not making any effort to start building a few more.
Hit speed 104.
Wow. Nats 11 homers on the year now. A bunch this week. And then Murphy couldn't go down to get it. Daniel Murphy has hit 2 line drives. A triple down the right field line for an RBI. And then another one out toward the gap that Cedric Hunter cut off for a catch 1 inning ago. So since the last time Murphy batted, the Nats have had 5 base runners. Upstairs 1 and 2. 7-0. A combined 16-1 in this series. Changeup really turned that one over way outside.
Did he ask Gio if that was a changeup?
We don't have time to ask Gio about these pitches. We have a better view than he does. (3-2) with 1 out. Murphy gets a breaking ball, and he's going to line out again. I mean, if you count the line drives, half of them is hits. He'd be hitting 700.
Washington, D.C. Lexus dealers are going to go broke because of Bryce Harper. Children's National Health System. For every home run a Nats player hits this season, $250. It's for a wonderful cause. Lexus, the pursuit of perfection.
Jason Worth 0 for 2 tonight. 2 for 5, pair of doubles, 3 RBIs, 2 runs last night.
I have a question for you.
Okay.
When is Bryce Harper going to start getting the Barry Bonds treatment? Meaning intentionally walked.
Yeah. Let me ask Ryan Zimmerman. Maybe he'll be able to
on
answer
a daily basis, every chance you get. I don't know why people keep trying him. He's already the rating MVP. He's the only guy in the league that's really, I mean, it shouldn't say that, must-see TV. You have to watch him hit. You feel like he's going to hit a home run every time. And I'm just wondering why managers keep trying him, why teams keep trying him. I'm avoiding him at all costs. Every chance I get, I'm not letting Bryce Harper beat me. And we keep seeing pitch after pitch after pitch right down the middle, homer.
Yeah. And Bryce took a huge step in that department last year when guys tried to pitch around him and he drew all those walks. He just refused to get himself out.
And that's a really good point, Carp. If he's going to be aggressive, enforce the issue on the semi-pitch around thing where they're going to throw him 0-2 pitches the whole time. That's another thing, but he's just spitting on everything, so you can't pitch around them. So why not just stand up? We talked about that season where Barry Bonds had 120 intentional walks. That's going to happen in his future. And that's no insult to anybody hitting behind him. People are going to start avoiding him on a consistent basis.
Big curveball. So Rendon walks. Bryce Harper goes deep. 3 RBIs tonight. 2 for 2. It's a Harper show in Philly.
The driver's seat segment of the show, and it's Max Scherzer tonight. He has been money with all of his pitches. I think he's done a nice job of really mixing it up, whether it's been the changeup, the slider, the curve, and then you walk Danny Espinosa to get to me. I'm going to show you double over Cedric Hunter's head. That scored everybody. Danny Espinosa hustling all the way around. So Max Scherzer in the driver's seat for sure.
Yeah. 3-run first was great. That was the Max Scherzer, let's let out a big sigh that really opened up the ball game on that swing. 5-0. 4th inning. Then Harper adds 2 more. The Nats are up 7 in the bottom of the 5th with Galvis, Rupp, and Hunter 6, 7, 8. Max Scherzer, total dominance since the 1st inning. And he gave up a walk and a hit.
One of my friends just sent me a text. What's better, a Steph Curry jump shot or a Bryce Harper homer? That's
Steph Curry jump shots happen about every minute.
He hit 403. So
what's more pure, I guess, is a good question. That was Dalier Hinojosa in their bullpen. Nats have Nola at 80 pitches through 5 already. This one in the air to left. Worth tracking it. Jason takes the fair ball for the first out.
Come out to Nats Park Tuesday, April 26th. Nats take on the Phillies in game 1 of the 3-game set. First 20,000 fans, you'll get a Teddy Plush window clink. Visit nationals.com to purchase your tickets today.
Next up, Cameron Rupp, the catcher.
He might hit a home run that day. Who knows?
Cameron Rupp swinging strikeout first time. Max has 4 more Ks since. Braves and Marlins are slugging it out. Marlins got 3 in the 2nd to take a 3-2 lead. Now the Braves have scored 4 more in the 4th inning in Atlanta. Back among the living, ahead 6-3. Nats into Miami tomorrow night after they wrap it up here.
Fastball's exploding through the zone.
It is, and he's looking so free and easy.
Well, this would be a same seats night if it wasn't for Franco in the 1st inning. Phillies with just 1 hit.
That was a breaking ball that got a lot of the plate on the first pitch to Franco, who, as you noted, is a first ball fastball hitter. The 3-2 pitch. That ball is going a long way. Just under the upper deck as Cameron Rupp hits his first homer of the year, gets his first RBI on his 10th career home run. That breaks a string of 12 consecutive batters.
Boy, he got on top of this high fastball, didn't he? No doubter from Cameron Rupp. Not easy to get on top of that heat when it's that high, but he hit that ball a ton.
That'll bring in Cedric Hunter. And he jacks one, but it's way foul. Shift on. We sent Danny Espinosa angling over toward Murphy to throw him out first time. Curveball way out ahead. Emmanuel Burris is on deck to hit for Aaron Nola. 1-2.
I'll tell you what, based on that Hunter swing right now, Max Scherzer read swings. He's very aggressive in this 2-strike count, almost like he predetermined he was swinging to that pitch. You bounce something right here, you might have him. Or not.
Yeah, a little change up. Or is that the slider?
Change.
Great ratio throughout the night. 49 pitches in 4 innings coming into this frame. And a 2-2 pitch up the middle. But the Nats have a guy there. It's the shortstop, Espinosa. 2 down.
What's the word of the day today? I mean, I've been wondering all day in my hotel room. There it is, Force. Text it to 29292 for a chance to win a meet and greet with that guy on your screen. Text Force to 29292. That's brought to you by Care First. Live fearless with the name trusted for over 75 years. Care First, Blue Cross Blue Shield. Force. Max Scherzer's been a force, man. On
the former net, Manny Burris.
On offense and defense.
No, that's defense.
Oh, that's right. Good looking out.
Burris on the year. 0 for 9. He was in the lineup last night, leading off, and he wore the 0 for 4 collar against Ross. Actually, all 4 of those at-bats were against Joe. And he hits one pretty well out to center. Taylor turned one way, then the other, and he's going to have it go off his glove. By the time Michael got himself oriented, that ball was coming right back over the bill of his cap. And Emmanuel Burris is into third base with 2 outs.
Well, that's all Manny Burris has. He can't hit a ball any better than this. And you see Michael Taylor originally broke the wrong way, turned, and I thought recovered nicely. It looked like he was going to run this down. But you remember last night when I showed you Bryce Harper stretching for Ryan Howard's ball, and we showed how he kept his head still? Right there, Michael Taylor's going so fast, you saw in the replay, his head's bouncing all over. So while you're sitting at home right now going, he should have made that play. If you've ever run for a ball full speed in center field, if you're not on the balls of your feet, your head's moving all over, you look up at the baseball, Bob, and it's bouncing around like a knuckleball. And I think that's what happened to Michael Taylor right there. He was running so fast, his head was moving so much, he reached up to basically a bouncing baseball in the air because of his head moving. When you're really scrambling and getting it, that's what happens.
Triple for Burris, his first hit of the year. Cesar Hernandez is bounced out to short and struck out swinging. He's a left-handed batter on whom they don't shift. And Max has missed inside twice. Got the low call, and Hernandez didn't like it. See how Mercedes-Benz feels about it.
You know, I thought that's what Denard Span did as good as anybody I've ever seen, or better than most, is when he was going full speed, his head was perfectly still. That's why he took such precise routes and made so many plays in the gap. And I've seen Michael Taylor do that before, but just because he turned the wrong way, he had to really bust it. And when you're going top speed like that, you're thinking get to the ball, and you're really not thinking run on the balls of my feet, keep my head still. That's all stuff that's usually just second nature.
(3-1) with 2 outs. Scherzer challenge fastball, and he gets the pop-up. Danny Espinosa called off by Anthony Rendon. So the homer by Rupp, the only damage in the inning. Wilson Ramos, he's our Honda do-up to the top of the 6th. The Buffalo 1 for 2 with a double, a run scored last night on the heels of a couple of hits here Friday. good.
I thought his at-bat in the first was one of the best at-bats I've seen all year. A 10-pitch gem. They ended with a double down the left field line. So the line was moving in the first. 9 guys to the plate, 9 hard-hit balls. And then on the mound, with that 5-run cushion in the first and a few add-ons, was toying with the complete game shutout. Dusty Baker got him out of there. 7 2/3 of scoreless baseball last night on 107 pitches from Joe Ross.
Yeah, he said no to the Phillies too. Dalyer Hinojosa, 30 years of age, and from Cuba originally. Last year in his big league debut, he was with the Red Sox and the Phillies. 18 games here, and this is his 5th appearance of 2016.
Yeah, fastball averages 93, slider and change to complement the heater.
Wilson Ramos as advertised for the Nats. Facing him for the first time. Looking for another multi-hit game. Wilson having a good series. He is 3 for 7. 3 hard hit balls last night, and Hinojosa has him reaching for that one. 1 ball, 2 strikes. So the Nats box, big first inning. Taylor walk, Rendon single, Zimmerman, Murphy RBI hits. More runs on the Scherzer double in the 4th, and then Bryce goes, and I mean deep. Top 5 to make it 7-0. 7 runs on 7 hits. The economy of hits and runs continues. Look at Wilson Ramos spoil a pretty tough pitch down and away. Up the middle. Top spin on that ball. Over to grab it. Freddie Galvis, 6th inning underway.
Pretty good crowd here tonight. Kids opening day.
You made an interesting observation.
I did.
While between innings, we were watching a little hockey.
No.
And the Flyers had a, what we call their score bug, where you show the score. They were advertising the sale of playoff tickets. Evidently not sold out across the street.
Well, I wish we could stay. I'd
Wouldn't that
buy
be
one.
great?
I'd call that number and buy one right now. Good hack.
Wait a minute. Did I just hear you say you were going to buy a ticket?
Yeah, you got me.
Couldn't let that one slip by him.
I actually did buy some Caps tickets this winter. I did.
Okay.
I promise. To one game, I think.
0-1 to Espinoza. Danny facing Dalyer Hinojosa for the first time. Danny 0 for 1. Intentionally walked to get to Scherzer, and then he scored on the Max double. Low and away, couldn't get to it. Drops 85 on the change right in there. 2 down, and here comes Max Scherzer.
I mean, it's 7-1. Do you have any stories about Max and snakes and rabbits or anything to entertain us with through this at-bat? Anything?
I don't know. That player profile file is pretty extensive. Got to be a story of Max's fishing or hunting exploits in there somewhere. Just looking at his hitting. Last year for the Nats, didn't have any RBIs. So his 4 previous were with the Tigers. Actually, 1 with the Tigers, 3 previous with Arizona. And he added his first 2 onto the career ledger here tonight. Up the middle, ball bounces over the mound, gets out to Galvis. Nice soft hands and a quick release. And that throw almost took Ryan Howard into Max Scherzer. We're going bottom 6, 7-1, Washington.
Visit them at www.mercedes.com. Just Mercedes.com, excuse me. 7-1 as we go to the bottom of the 6th inning. Daniel Murphy doing his thing. Max Scherzer with another good outing. But check out Bryce Harper's 5th home run of the year, a far-tater. And that made it 7-0. Jose Lobaton, helmet taker offer guy. Bryce Harper with a relaxed home run. Forget all the relaxed high fives, like, you know.
Yeah, businesslike.
It's like I'm gonna be there again. I've been there before. Like handing the ball to the ref when you score a touchdown.
Act like you've done it before. Bottom of the 6th. Max Scherzer, 73 pitches, 50 strikes. So even with a long 5th inning, he's still under 15 pitches per. Now trying to start another streak of hitters retired. The Rupp homer halted a 12 in a row. And here's Herrera, who has walked and 1 hopped back to the pitcher.
You know, Pete McCannon talking about Aldubo, loves the guy, loves the passion he plays with every day, loves what he brings to the table. He said there's a fine line between taking a young player that's had success and reeling him in a little bit. You know, he can be flashy at times and you know, killing the spirit of the player.
Yeah. Man, the bat, part of it anyway, spinning out between first and second, and then Rendon makes that catch. Phillies box, only 3 entries as far as hits. Franco's first inning single, Rupp's 1 out 5th inning homer, a monster shot, I might add, And then Manny Burris, the triple, later in that inning, off the glove of Taylor, but he did not score. Franco next. The game's only hit until the 5th inning, and that cues right off the end of the barrel. Max looking for career win number 107 tonight. Front door with 84.
Backed up on him. Slider worked nicely.
Nissan.
Franco swinging where he thinks it's going to end up, and it actually went the other way.
1-2 with 1 out. Fair ball. Backhand. Rendon plants, fires, long throw. Good pick. Zimmerman. 2 outs.
Sweet play by Anthony Rendon. I mean, this ball hit pretty hard by Franco, and he gets the in-between hop into a slide. Now, he got the big hop, but still into a slide. He gets to his feet, set himself nicely, and watch a little nifty glove work from Ryan Zimmerman on the backside. But that ball came up on Rendon. So into the slide, the ball hopped a little higher than he thought initially. Max Scherzer with the point to Anthony Rendon. Nice play.
He liked both ends of that play. Here's Ryan Howard, who has popped up and struck out.
It's a top spin hopper. That last hop had some top spin on it. Shot on Rendon, but he stayed soft to the backhand. That was beautiful.
He's out at shortstop now. Rendon on the shift with Murphy in right field. You know what's interesting about this shift? Now that Danny Espinosa is the regular shortstop, he has so much range going either way. Unless you just hit one so far to the right of Rendon to get a hit. These guys have a great chance to take hits away because Danny covers so much ground. Two and one. There was a time in this ballpark when Ryan Howard used to just flick his wrists and hit the ball over the signs out in left field for home runs that would go like 340, 350. Four home runs on the year. 361 career. He's been an MVP, a Rookie of the Year before that. Multi-time All-Star. Been hurt a lot since the 2012 season.
Free up a lot of salary for the Phillies next year too. This is the last year of his deal. Same with Carlos Ruiz. Some money coming off the books.
Yeah. 3-2 pitch with 2 outs. Scherzer drops in a changeup and strikes him out looking. Well, Max on a new streak now, 4 in a row, and he is in total command of this 7-1 game.
Park. Michael A. Taylor set to lead off here for the Nationals. Taylor got a day off on Thursday, and a lot of everyday hitters approach their days off a little differently. Some opt to take time away, to not really take that many swings, to just get some time to kind of get their heads away from what they're maybe working on at the plate. Taylor went about it a different way. He took a lot of swings on his day off in the cage with Rick Shue watching on. Said he wasn't trying to change anything mechanically, just trying to slow things down a bit. He felt a little anxious in the first handful of games this season when he was scuffling, trying to do too much, and hitting coach Rick Shue agreed. He told me he felt like Taylor was just pressing a bit. It's just a matter of getting his timing locked in. It looked like it was last night early on. Second pitch of the game, roping one to left. Shue says he wants Michael to just get back to doing what he was doing in spring training, nice and easy.
Numbers were great, hitting .400. 0 for 2 with a walk and a run scored tonight. That was Dan with our second Coons.com sideline report. Over 2 million vehicles sold and counting. Top 7. Taylor, quick bat. Fastball boring in on him. From Dalyer Hinojosa. Michael, career 0 for 1 against him.
Well, both guys that have observation days, as Dusty Baker called it on Sunday. Michael Taylor and Jason Worth had big nights last night.
This one high in the air to right. Long way to go for Cedric Hunter. Over toward the line. 1 out, 7th inning. Potomac Nationals are in the midst of their first homestand of the year. So the Stars of tomorrow, and it's only 30 minutes south down there at the Fitz in Woodbridge. 703-590-2311 or log on to PotomacNationals.com.
Well, ever since you were their guest speaker this winter, you're really putting a lot of oomph into that promo.
I tell you,
you're selling it.
You feed the media.
You selling
the
it.
Possibilities are endless.
You're going to be turning people away at the gates down there.
I did make a promise that night that I have to keep. That the first time we have an off night and they're home, I'm going to go down and catch a game down.
All right. Love it.
They're just, I haven't figured out when that is yet, but so close, might as well.
Well, you know where you did that speech is a golf course, and they said anytime we want to go out there for free, so.
Oh, it was? Gee, that wouldn't be Old Hickory, would it?
Looked like a nice track.
Yeah, it was covered with snow when I saw it. You are an agitator. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Anthony Rendon's had a good night. Base hit, walk, 2 runs scored. Swinging the bat okay. Not as great as he can be, and when that happens, oh my goodness, what will pitchers do with this starting 8? That's a 2-hopper to Freddie Galvis. 2 down here in the 7th. Here comes Bryce. Inside the numbers, last 18+ games against the Phils, over 360, 24 for 66, double-digit homers, RBIs, the walks, and Bryce Harper, counting tonight, now has at least 2 hits and at least 1 home run in his last 5 games at Citizens Bank Park. Only one other player since 1900, Sonny Jim Bottomley, did that in the city of Philly. That was back in 1929. Harper almost served a double down the left field line. Bryce kind of froze and watched it, and then it didn't go slicing away as much as he thought.
I mean, that's how you hit 300. That's how he hit 300 last year. He used the whole field. And that montage that was floating around the other day of all 100 of Bryce's home run swings in one video was amazing. They had your calls on there. They showed all of his home runs. It was like click, click, click. 100 homers.
Fastball up. Yeah, I'm sure some pitchers totally enjoyed that sequence.
Well, if you don't like it,
a lot of them appeared on there.
Don't give it up.
Bryce Harper against Hinojosa, 0 for 3 career, 2 fly balls, a strikeout. And a 1-2. That ball spinning maybe a foot outside the third base bag.
Close, little squiver down the third base line. That would have been a beautiful thing.
Yeah, you see that, you're going to win a batting championship with everything else you can do.
You're hitting 400 if those start falling.
And a 1-2 with 2 outs. Off speed, not biting.
Tough guy to get your rhythm on. I mean, Hinojosa's coming at Bryce hard. Like he's really jumping at Bryce, very quick to the plate, even without a runner on. These kind of at bats for a hitter are an adjustment in process. You got to pick up the fact that he's quick to the plate, and you got to start early.
Reaching, backhand play, Hernandez. Bryce gone, so are the Nats. Time to stretch in Philadelphia on a beautiful baseball night, where the Nats got 3 in the first, 2 in the fourth, and 2 in the fifth. Harper hitting, other guys contributing. Pitching great, defense solid. Everything going for the Nats. Bottom of the 7th arrives. Max Scherzer, 6 innings, 87 pitches, 58 strikes. Last night they were into the Phillies bullpen in the 4th inning. Tonight it took till the 6th. Here's Darren Ruff, who's 0 for 2. Pop up to second, swinging strikeout. .93 by him before he could pull the trigger.
Yeah, you're thinking this might be the last frame for Max Scherzer with the 6-run lead, the shutout already gone with the solo home run by Cameron Rupp. Pretty easy decision for Dusty. I mean, get to that 100 pitch count and start focusing on 5 days from now.
Max 104 and 100 in his first 2 starts. You know what's interesting? All this starting pitching the Nats have had, we haven't talked about pitch counts very much. You know, usually it's something you really keep your eye on. The way these guys are throwing, it has hardly been a subject of conversation.
Right. And like I said last night, 100 through 5, that's way worse than 100 through 9. And knock on wood, that hasn't happened yet this year.
3-2 pitch with nobody out. And this one the other way, heading out of play. Mercedes-Benz tracking the AB. Pretty much everything away. Fastball blows him away. Strikeout number 7. And Scherzer now 5 in a row.
He's starting to feel it, isn't he? Getting that little stocking thing he does going around the mound. The empty the tank portion of the Max Scherzer outing coming at you live right now. He's letting it all go.
Well, Dusty had to tell him twice, you're done in his starts this year, because Max in each start was ready to go farther. That's just him being him.
Well, he said after his last start, it's not how you start, it's how you finish, and he was really excited with the way he finished his second start against the Braves for his first win of the year. It's where all the hard work, the conditioning between starts. The guy's in tip-top shape. He works as hard as anybody, and the payoff is when he gets to around 100 pitches that he's still got plenty in the tank.
1 ball, 1 strike. Galvis getting time. Freddie has been thrown out by Murphy on an attempted bunt. A very good play, and then a fly ball to Worth. Slaps one right side. Zimmerman, Murphy. Neither could get it. Ball seeing its way through the infield. And Freddie Galvis has his second hit of this series.
Well, Max Scherzer's got to love the effort behind him. One guy dives, can't get it. Other guy would have had it, but it hit the lip where the dirt meets the grass. Did you see that last hop? The ball hit the lip. It was like a ramp. It hopped over Daniel Murphy's glove. He was there and would have made the play.
Here's Cameron Rupp, who hit a long homer last time up. Hit that ball a ton, didn't quite make it to the upper deck and left. I know 2 Nationals have gone up there over the years. One of them's playing first base and the other's playing the outfield in Arlington, Texas. Out of play, right side.
You know, most major league infields where the dirt hits the grass, it's pretty seamless, I should say, but you see that lip right here.
Yeah, you can see it raised.
There's a little ledge there, and that's what that ball hit. Just kind of took off over Daniel Murphy's glove.
0-1 the count.
And as an infielder, that's something you always look at, and you usually don't have to find it at a major league field. Is there going to be any kind of change in the bounce in the baseball when it goes from dirt, to grass, and that lip on the backside of an infield? So if I go to an angle for a ball deep in the hole at second, is it going to hop?
Had him reaching, so he doubled up on the sliders. Murphy's out there, and then Taylor appeared to call it, but Michael didn't get there. And the Phillies have a bloop hit. 2 on, 1 out.
Just a weird play right here. Daniel Murphy's camped, and then Michael Taylor was screaming, I got it, I got it, I got it, but he was nowhere near. And maybe he took his eyes off the ball because he saw Daniel Murphy, but you know, usually you want an outfielder to take it over an infielder, but when you're camped as an infielder, and Murphy's there, he had the angle based on the way they were playing the shift.
And Daniel was pretty emphatic with his I got it call.
But if the center fielder calls you off or an outfielder calls you off as an infielder, you have to do what Daniel Murphy did right there. You have to peel off because they have priority. The only thing that went weird there was Murphy was camped. He had that easily. And now Max Scherzer really having to work here in the bottom of the 7th.
Yeah, seeing eye grounder. Texas leaguer falls in. Cedric Hunter 0 for 2 with ground balls to Danny Espinosa. Rendon has to stay home on the shift because of 2 runners. That's to the right side. Murphy slipped, and then just took the out at first.
Good decision by Daniel Murphy. I mean, you're going to your left. All your momentum's going toward first base. There's no need with a 6-run lead to try to fight this to second base, and that's what would have happened. But do you notice where he fielded it? In front of the cut. I mean, if he throws this to second, now you might have a disastrous huge inning. So you're up by 6, take the out, and you see Ryan Zimmerman pointing to Murphy. That was the smart play. Nicely done.
Andres Blanco will be the pinch hitter. Blake Trinan up and starting to work. Mike Maddox buying some time. Andres Blanco is 1 for 2 career against Max Scherzer. On the year, 1 for 1 with an RBI as a pinch hitter. Breaking ball, and that thing wrapped right around his back knee. Ramos had to go backhand. Rendon shallow at third, respecting Blanco's speed. He's right in the baseline. Don't want to give up too much ground so you can cut one off. And a 1-0 pitch. Changeup of beauty. Third base, Freddie Galvis, 1-out single. Cameron Rupp, the blooper that fell. He's at second. That's about hit the Phils, 7-5 and lead 7-1. Challenge fastball at the knees.
Pitch number 106, 97 miles an hour from Max Scherzer. I think that's the hardest fastball he's thrown tonight.
What location he had on that one.
There might have been a little emotion behind that one too.
There may be some here, knowing the end of the line is in sight. He goes changeup, and Ramos picks it. Ball 2. A 7-1 ball game, bottom of the 7th. And Scherzer gets the fly ball to left. Jason Worth. And that's it for the Phillies in the 7th. Max Scherzer, 1 run, 5 hits, 7 strikeouts through 7, leading by 6. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Washington Nationals and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the expressed written consent of the Washington Nationals. Max Scherzer, brilliant through 7 tonight. He and Harp on either side of the ball, and then of course Scherzer, he goes most of the lineup one better by driving in 2 runs himself.
Is there anybody that finishes better than Max?
108 pitches, 72 strikes.
Just love how he finishes his starts. Lots of smiles in that third base dugout.
Third Philadelphia pitcher of the night, 26-year-old right-hander Hector Neris from the Dominican, and for the Phils last year, 32 games out of the bullpen, 3.79 ERA, appearance number 6.
The fastball average is 92. He got a pretty good split that he almost throws half the time. Averages 85. And he's going right to the split.
Ryan Zimmerman faces him for the first time and had to duck away from that. 8th inning underway. The Nats 6 outs away from a 9-1 record, trying to win 7 in a row and win another series. That thing dropping straight down. Ryan tonight 1 for 3. Matt Belisle for the Nats. Split action, 87. Ryan strikes out. Cameron Rupp will throw him out. 1 out.
Follow the Nats all season long with MLB.com at-bat app. Stay up to the moment at any moment with game day, live video highlights, StatCast. Download MLB.com at-bat, the #1 app for live baseball on your phone or tablet.
Daniel Murphy is 3 for 5 career with 2 RBIs against Hector Neris. 1 for 3 tonight. And the only times they've retired him have been on line drives to right and to the second baseman.
Boy, you look at the scouting report and you see that Neris has a good split, and then you see the ones he threw to Zimmerman. You want to get that first fastball first strike if you're Daniel Murphy. You want to get the 2 strikes because got pretty good out pitch, it looks like.
(1-1) Murphy, you don't see him locked up too often.
Split looks like a fastball. It just dives at the end straight down. Sometimes you can pick up a lot of seams on it. And here comes another one.
Tough to hit. He's got guys bailing. 2 outs and Jason Worth next.
This is nasty. You know, one went one way, the other one kind of went away from Murphy. So a guy that only struck out 38 times all year last year. Give you a good idea how that split's looking.
Jason Worth has a career homer against him. 1 for 2. And that one hittable when he started the swing, and then it hit the very end of the barrel. In the air to right, Cedric Hunter. And the Phillies bullpen has 3 scoreless innings In fact, 9 in a row from Hinojosa and Neris. Trying to go for the sweep tomorrow. We'll see how this one ends up. Gio, brilliant last time out. And right now, Gio Gonzalez sporting a 0 ERA. In his first start, 6 innings, 3 hits, no runs, a walk, 4 strikeouts. He's 8-5 career in 16 games against the Phillies. Join us at the bank. Nets extra 1 o'clock. FP and I in the booth at 1:30. First pitch 1:35.
How about your Miller Lite moment of the game? We promised you earlier. It's Miller time, brought to you by Miller Lite. Let's go back to the 6th inning. Maikel Franco with a top spinner to Anthony Rendon, who goes to the backhand, tricky hop, spin move, and Ryan Zimmerman on the backside. Max, woo, and a point to Anthony Rendon, digging the defense behind him.
Here's Matt Belisle for the Nats. 3rd appearance of the season. 3 hits, a run, in an inning and a third.
Fastball, slider, curve. Fastball averaging 89.
Cesar Hernandez 0 for 1 career against him. Look out, that ball screaming into the seats. So last night Ross goes 7 2/3. Tonight Scherzer goes 7. The value of a well-rested bullpen anytime during the season, big. So important not to wear them out in the first couple of months. Long way to go before the end of May, but it's trending very well.
So last time through the rotation, the starting pitchers have given up a total of 3 runs.
Wow.
Max won here tonight. Steven gave up 2, but he pitched great. And the other 3 goose eggs.
Fly ball to center for Michael A. Taylor. Hernandez 0 for 4 in the leadoff spot tonight. In 2 games, the Phillies leadoff men Burris and Hernandez are 0 for 8. Oliver Perez for the 9th. Which, if it's a 1-2-3 here, would mean a Perez-Ryan Howard matchup. Here's Odubel Herrera. He's 0 for 2 with the base on balls. Herrera 0 for 1 against Matt Belisle. Got jammed with that thing. Matt, 35 years of age. Originally drafted in the 2nd round of the '98 draft by the Braves. In the big league since '03 with the Reds. And then 6 years in Colorado, 1 year in St. Louis, now a Nat. Looked like he was throwing a dart to the outside edge and he just missed. Down and in, good take by Herrera. We talked about his plate discipline. That was a heck of a take on a 1-2 pitch. Bounce it to Rendon's right. Base hit. That'll turn into 2 bags as it gets beyond Anthony. That's a single even if Rendon gets it. And then Herrera gets a 2-base hit.
Well, Anthony Rendon's playing in a kind of a modified shift, so he had a long way to go for this ball, and that's another top spinner. So the dirt here at the bank playing real hard. He had to try to field that standing up. If he dives for it, put it in your pocket because Herrera can run.
There's Michael Franco, who's 1-for-1 career against Belial.
And it was probably a put it in your pocket either way.
Yeah. '88, he was hacking. Franco 1 for 7 in the series with the first inning single tonight. And Belial just missing away. 1-1.
Pretty good pitch right here. I'm sure Pitch Track liked it.
Right on the edge. Kerwin Danley behind the plate tonight. Braves still have the lead at Miami. They're now bottom 7th there. Atlanta 6, Marlins 4. Braves trying to win their 2nd in a row. Mets have lost. The Nats could have a 5-game lead over a bunch of teams at the end of this evening. 2 balls, 1 strike.
Tell you what, you get out of the gate quick and have an awesome April. You can play 500 ball the rest of the year. You get 15 games over, something crazy in the month of April, play a little over, right around 500 the rest of the year, win a division. That's how important these games in April are, especially in your division.
Bouncer to short, Danny Espinosa right there. To Zimmerman, low throw. Ryan picks it. Looking great at first base, 2 outs.
Well, it's a small play, but it's a big play because when you throw a ball in the dirt and your first baseman picks you up, it gives you confidence that you don't have to be perfect. So Ryan Zimmerman's done such a good job at first base. It's still kind of strange seeing him over there, I got to be honest, but he's been so good with little plays like this. I mean, don't sleep on that pick. It's not easy. He just made that look real easy.
I have to admit, once this year and several times last year, while filling in my defensive box in the scorebook, I've written Zim on the wrong side of the infield. You watch the guy for 10 years, and now we're watching him in a whole new world, and he's doing just great. Ryan Howard 0 for 3, couple of strikeouts.
I mean, I could top that story if you want. I called him Jordan like 5 times in 2011 when I first got here.
Well, there was 2 Zimmermans in the same uniform for a number of years.
When Jordan was pitching, I screwed that up so many times.
Howard gets jammed. Anthony Rendon's the Lone Ranger over on that side. Worth behind him, there to help if needed. And Rendon made a very fine play. To the 9th we go. The Nats are having fun. We are. We hope you are too. Baseball on Masson, brought to you by American Standard Heating and Air. It's their all-star sales event with up to $1,100 in instant rebates or 0% APR for 36 months. And by T-Mobile, get major league coverage. T-Mobile has doubled its 4G LTE in the last year.
I love Philadelphia. I really do. It's a great city. One of our favorite stops. And they're still having fun, even though their team's down by 6.
Passionate fans, no doubt about that.
Saturday night at the ballpark. Top 5 cities for me. I love coming here.
Well, I'm glad because we are here a lot, and I'm right there with you. It's a lot more pleasant since they opened this new ballpark, which is now, wow, 12 years old. There's James Russell. He'll take on Ramos Espinoza. And we'll see how Dusty plays the number 9 spot.
I mean, where else can you go get coffee between innings and run into a Hall of Famer, Mike Schmidt?
Mike Schmidt, I saw him here tonight. I used to really love it here when old Whitey, Richie Ashburn was still with us, and Harry Callis. Always had a blast with those guys. First pitch swinging, Wilson Ramos to shortstop. Freddie Galvis, 1 out. So Ramos now 0 for 2 career against Russell. Danny Espinoza coming in. Then it looks like Chris Heisey will get an at bat.
Trying to turn an 0 for 2 and a 1 for 3. This is a sleep good tonight at bat. He's happy that his team's ahead by 6, but 1 for 3, you sleep real well.
Espinoza hits it well the other way. That ball is run down by Cedric Hunter, tailing away 2 outs in the 9th.
Good swing, gave it a ride. Nice play by Hunter.
So Chris Heisey does get the AB here, as Dusty continues to get his extra men significant action.
Don't you feel like Chris Heisey could take a full hack in a phone booth? He's got such a short swing.
Russell slips it by him. Chris Heisey against James Russell, 2 for 4 career.
Are there phone booths anymore? There aren't. When's the last time you saw a phone booth?
Here.
Where?
Our old hotel, about 3 blocks down the street, there was one of the old red London phone booths right outside one of our favorite late night stops, and it is gone.
Thus, there's no phone booths anymore.
I know.
There's no ATMs
I knew
in
you
this
were going
ballpark
there.
because it's named after a bank, and there's no phone booths anywhere anymore.
Well,
there's kids at home right now going, "A phone booth,
yeah.
Dad? What's that?"
That's their backpack. That's where they put their. There's a phone booth.
You can't take a full swing in that.
It's as close as we are. 3-2. And that's a good swing by Heisey. Deep to right center. Kahn. And a good catch by the fan. Chris Heisey. First homer and RBI as an ad.
Well, that's the kind of pop he adds off the bench. And for a bench guy with 1 at bat, you go deep. Jose Lobaton, helmet taker, offer guy. Chris Heisey, first tater as a net. Great swing.
Chris Heisey, 70th career home run. And the Nats now lead 8-1.
Offense is cool. And newsflash, this team is good.
Top of the order, Michael A. Taylor.
Saw Mike Schmidt. He's like left, right, left, right. Then you got Jason Worth hitting 6. He used to hit 3rd. He goes, you guys are deep. Bench guys talking it over. Stephen Drew knows about hitting taters off the bench. That's got to feel so good for him, doesn't it?
Yep. Taylor will be hitless tonight, 0 for 4 with a walk and a run scored, though, to start the game. 3 outs to go to a 9-1 record. Career pinch hit homer indeed, Phil Wood. So we're going bottom of the 9th, and FP to revisit a few great things we've seen here tonight.
Well, I thought Max Scherzer did a really good job of implementing his whole arsenal tonight. I mean, just pick a pitch, any pitch, and they were all good. Strikeout worthy. Here's a fastball from Scherzer for strike 3. This might be a cutter to Ryan Howard. Slider, cutter. And this definitely a slider right here. And the changeup was good as well. So whatever he wanted at his disposal tonight at any time, Max Scherzer doing his thing once again.
Sean Kelly gets the call against Darren Ruff, facing him for the first time. Then Freddie Galvis and Cameron Rupp. Bottom of the 9th. Runs that fastball to the inside edge. Then he goes low and away.
Good slider. And that's Sean Kelly's deal, the slider, but his fastball is good too. And he you know, every single outing he seems more at home in that Nats uniform.
That was a swing called by the home plate umpire, Kerwin Danley, 1 out. Tune into the Nats Extra postgame show. Johnny and Phil are ready, and it's brought to you by WB Mason. When this one's over, who but WB Mason presenting Nats Extra. Next up for the Phils, Freddie Galvis. 0 for 2 career against Sean Kelly. Base hit. Galvis' second in a row. Phillies' 7th hit of the night. And for Freddie, 3rd hit of the series, 4th time he's been on base.
Could have had 3 tonight with a little luck on that bunt. Daniel Murphy made a nice bare hand play on him.
Next up, Cameron Rupp.
Interesting to see what Dusty Baker's lineup is like tomorrow. I think Jason Worth might have the day off. We'll see. Ryan Zimmerman maybe.
They're throwing a right-hander, so we might see Clint Robinson, Matt Dendecker, or even Stephen Drew somewhere.
How hard would it be to give Bryce Harper a day off?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you still have to keep everybody fresh, but he's so locked in.
Yeah, I'm sure Bryce doesn't want to sit.
No. It's 23, man. He's good.
Rupp a homer, a single. His first of the year, driving in the Phil's only run. 0-2. And that breaking ball off the shin guards of Wilson Ramos. Freddie Galvis to second base. Tomorrow's info. That's extra, 1 o'clock. We join you at 1:30. Gio and Charlie Morton. Got him. Sean Kelly all around the plate here. 2 outs.
A short little slider. Maybe Cameron thought it was going to be up, but it got the bottom of the zone. Late break. And Gio's still hammering away at that pitching chart. Almost done, Gio.
Cedric Hunter. Kelly took a little bit off and missed away.
I think Jose Lobaton might get a start tomorrow. He usually catches Gio.
A lot of good left-handed bats on that bench. Low in the zone with the breaking ball and a called strike.
Maybe Chris Heisey just got himself in the lineup tomorrow. You remember Stephen Drew with the base hit off the bench started the next day.
Yeah.
I mean, we could have fun speculating with a 7-run lead, can't we?
1-1 pitch. Would Dusty let them know tonight before they leave the park?
He used to let me know on the airplane before the road trip. He'd come to the back of the plane. He had a little piece of paper in his hand. He'd say, you have the 2nd game in New York, the 3rd game in Philly, and the 3rd game in Pittsburgh. Get your sleep the nights before. And you can prepare accordingly as a bench guy. You know, as a bench guy, you walk in that clubhouse in that moment of truth. You look at the lineup card when you walk in, your heart's beating 100 miles an hour. Am I in the lineup today? Am I not? Dusty Baker, you don't have to do that.
He got him. Game over. Another blowout win for the Nats. 2 hours and 37 minutes. Last night it was 9-1. Tonight it's 8-1. Bryce Harper hits another home run, drives in 3, and the beat goes on for the Washington Nationals.
Well, the boys are playing as well as you possibly can. I said it last night. I'm going to say it again. And another victory for DC over Philly here in game 2 of the series.
Yeah, and about 4.5 minutes left in what should be the other one. For FP and Dan, Bob Carpenter, the Nats in a breeze again. 8-1 over the Phils. Tomorrow, Janice on Masson. It'll be Gio, Charlie Morton. Get you going at 1 o'clock. This has been a presentation to Masson. Johnny and Phil straight ahead and from Philly. See you later.